Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Precious. If this is your first time coming across this channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you have come across this channel before and you have not subscribed to my channel, hit the subscribe button also, and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so you get notified for my new videos. Today we're going to be talking about self-discovery and finding yourself. In a generation where it feels like everybody's becoming a replica of somebody else, where our identity is being determined by society, family, or even friends, where we are who we are because the society thinks we should be this way or because they have boxed us to be a certain way. And there are lots of external influences that determine our identity these days, which is very unfair, by the way. I hope you take your time out to find yourself, to actually be you, embracing all of those flaws, your uniqueness, those insecurities, your goodness, literally everything that makes you you. I do not believe that God created you in his image for you to live in the image of another person. No, that spoils the plan entirely. So yes, this video is here to guide you as I'll be sharing few tips on how you can be your most authentic self, discovering you for who you are. So guys, let's get into it. The first tip is to identify your core values and principles. As a human, I believe that you should have a strong value system and principles that you uphold. I mean, you shouldn't just breeze through life without having something, without having principles that you strongly uphold. It's left for us to actually identify those principles. The basis of these principles is majorly from experience and also the foundation laid by our parents growing up. Growing up, they tell you, do not do this, do not speak this way, do not go to such a place, do not behave in this manner. Slowly, they begin to instill some values and character traits into us. But then it gets to a point where you leave the grip of your parents away from the confines of home. And this is where independence and identification of your core value comes in. I think this is a defining moment. The moment you leave your house and you're exposed to a lot of things. You meet people from different backgrounds with different orientation, thought process. Some of them do not even have any principles or value system that they uphold. You're going to meet a lot of people out there. Now, this is the time where, some circumstances will determine where you stand or not. This is when you say to yourself, I uphold this, I am not going to do this, I am not going to do that. You make that decision for yourself. You identify the principles, the value system that you actually hold on to. Now, this is not your parents doing it for you. Okay? So I think it's self-discovery is a continuous process. It's something that doesn't entirely end. So give yourself time, but just know that it is important that as a person you identify core values, you identify principles, you have something that you uphold. That way you will not waver, you will not be easily influenced, you will not be easily carried away. You're doing something because this is what you want to do. You're convinced by all standards that you should be doing this, not because this person is doing it. So when you identify your values, you are able to exist from a source because you have a focal point, you have where you're coming from. So please take your time to identify those values that work for you. Someone might ask how he or she can identify his or her core values. So like I said earlier, it's often a reflection of what our parents instilled in us growing up, the kind of foundation that was laid to us by our parents. That's why I insist that the growing stage for a child is very important. You see those values, instill it in them more. Don't be too lenient with them. But then again, I believe we've done things that we can't even tell our parents about. I mean, you cannot exactly live on the standards of your parents because you get to a point, especially the adulthood stage, where you just do things that you're not even completely proud of, things that you can't even mention to anybody, but you still did them. So I think to identify these values, you just have to be in tune with yourself. It's something that is innate. Okay, pay attention to the way you feel about certain things. What is your stand on certain circumstances? How do you feel about certain things? How do you react automatically to certain situations and circumstances. Just have a stand. Like, this is where I stand on it. I'm not going to do this or not. I'm going to do this or not. So yeah, identifying your core values and principles will help you navigate life on your own terms. The next tip is to self-reflect. For this, I need you to take your time, breathe in and out, and ask yourself who you really are. Not what family says you are, not what friends says you are, not what the society or social media says you are. Who are you? Shut away every kind of external voice and just connect to yourself. When nobody's looking, who are you? When someone is looking, who are you? How do you feel about yourself on the inside? Yes, it's very important. If you can write it down, please write it, because that way you're able to determine how much you are in tune with yourself over time. Yes. What are your opinions on certain things? What are your choices? What are your preferences? What do you want? Who are you? If that you is weird, I do not care. Just reflect on that weirdness. Reflect completely on the things you love to do. What are your interests? When the noise is silenced, how do you even see yourself? How do you feel about yourself? I need you to take time and actually ask yourself these questions. Do not invalidate any of it. Do not feel bad about any of it, no matter how crazy or weird or good it sounds. I just want you to be true right now to yourself. So take your time to go through that exercise. Okay, it's part of the self-discovery. All right. If you do not have a complete answer to it, seek for the answers to them. Your thought process, your interests, your choices, your preferences, who you are, how you feel on the inside out. Okay, write it down if you can, and just continually self-reflect to determine where you are with yourself. One thing I love about self-reflection is that it makes you completely aware of who you are. That way nobody can define you except you. Do you understand? So I need you to actually take your time to self-reflect continually. I need you to actually do that. It's very important. So the next tip is to embrace and accept yourself for who you are. At this point, you must have self-reflected and you're already familiar with your peculiarities. Yes, so you must have said, this is who I am, this is what I can do or not. Now, this self-reflection, you need to look at the positive and the negative side though. So if you are rude, write it out. I am a rude person. I want to point out that right or wrong doesn't pander to your emotion. So let's say, for instance, a thief is caught and he or she says to whoever is reprimanding him, this is me. I love to pick things that are not mine. I have a reason for doing this. I just feel like doing it. Okay. Is this person accepting that he is a thief? Yes. Is his justification correct? No. Okay. There will always be right or wrong. So for every of your wrong behaviors, please try to work on them. Like I said, right or wrong cannot pander to your emotions. You can't come off saying, I am accepting that I'm a bad person. Deal with it. I mean, we are all seeking to grow, right? We are all seeking to get better, right? So for every of your bad behavior, for every of those flaws, please take your time to actually work on them. In acceptance, you should also accept your flaws and work on them. I'm still working on this, by the way, because of course there is no perfect person, but the main thing is that you're able to identify this as a flaw, accept it, and not live in denial of it, and actually work on it to be a better person. The next tip is to be open to trying out new things. Okay, I need you to be open-minded. I need you to explore interests, passions, hobby. You'll be surprised at the things that you end up liking. Like I said, self-discovery is a continuous process. It's a never-ending process, because sometimes some circumstances reveal a side of us that we never knew that was there. So yeah, just have an open mind. Surround yourself with people of like mind. Find your person, your people, and just do this life thing together with them. One of the beautiful things about self-discovery that I love is how aware it makes you. Yes, it makes you really aware, and you are able to take accountability for your actions. Most times I do not blame people for things that happen. I just try to identify the role I played in making that happen. I take accountability and I try to do better the next time. So understand that for every action there is a consequence. There is a consequence. I need to have that in mind before going to do certain things, before you make certain choices or act on certain things on your own terms. So understand that there are consequences, and I don't believe in being boxed up. Personally, I do not believe it. I just believe in just live your life, but also know where you're coming from and your moral standing on certain things. Finally, I need you to practice self compassion. You must have reflected on yourself, you must have tried finding you, but it's hard because you're still letting yourself be boxed by society, you're still letting people define you, you're still a people pleaser. You are yet to experience the liberation and freedom that comes with self-discovery. I need you to not be hard on yourself. I will always say this. I will always say, do not be hard on yourself, because at the end of the day, it's only yourself that you have. If you're hard on yourself, like, how do you even expect yourself to move forward if you're being so hard on yourself? Please do not be hard on yourself. Give it time, okay? And eventually you're going to get to that point where you really see yourself for who you are.